Welcome back to Life as Believers. As always, my name is Thomas.
I'm Ellington.
And today we have the current 7th fittest man in the world, Jayson Hopper, with us. How you doing, man?
Doing good.
Yeah?
Yes, sir.
How's you were just, I guess, Cancun, Myrtle Beach. Like,
Yeah,
where
took
were
some time
you?
off. We went to Cancun for about a week.
Yeah.
So just to relax and detox. And
That's dope. Was that like a kind of like a second honeymoon almost with you and your wife? Kind of a let's just relax us too.
We try to go somewhere like out of town after every single competition.
Okay.
Just like, because it's the only time I have time off.
Yeah.
So we try to just get away. So
That's good.
I guess you can call it another honeymoon.
Yeah, another honeymoon. That's paid for by sponsors. Yeah. I suppose out of your wallet. Yeah. I get that.
So
So yeah, you were talking about being a Nike athlete now. What's the stipulations behind that? Like you'd have to wear Nikes on like every
just Nike everything.
everything.
Yeah. So
Is that only in like photos and when you're captured on video, or is it like I have to walk around, go in a village grind, and have to wear Nikes?
I'm sure if I were like dressing nice,
Right.
and I wore like a flannel or something, it wouldn't have to be like Nike.
Yeah.
You know? Like go to church, I don't have to wear like dunks or anything.
Hey, I mean,
It's kind of tough. That's kind of tough.
yeah.
That's kind of
Motor
tough.
City, they do it all the time.
Yeah. But anything like on social media or like in competition is like a big requirement.
Gotcha.
So.
What was I guess, how did you get into that realm? Because I know you were like playing football, and I don't know if Clemson's a Nike school or not.
Yeah.
So was that the relationship started there when you were on Clemson? Like you just knew the Nike reps, and then once you got into professional CrossFit?
I have a manager that took care of all that.
That's dope.
Yeah, he reached out to all those brands when I got into CrossFit, and then I grew up a Nike guy, so it wasn't a hard choice.
It's always like the best. I mean, I grew up wrestling, and so I was like, I need to get the Nike wrestling shoes to look that way with the Nike socks too. Like you can't mismatch brands when you're playing.
They be wearing Adidas with Nike socks. Like that's like, it's like, bro, what? No, weird stuff.
That's so true.
Sure.
But so going back, I guess, kind of to football days, y'all went to the same high school, or y'all just knew each other in high school?
We didn't really know each other in high school.
Really?
You went to Lexington?
Yes, you didn't know this.
Breaking news, yeah, bro.
I knew you were from the Columbia area. I didn't know you went to Lexington.
I think we initially met at New Spring, but
Gotcha.
somehow I found out that you went to Lexington. But so what year did you graduate?
16.
Okay, so I graduated in 12. So technically, I guess
Y'all just missed each other.
Yeah, we would have just missed each other. But I played ball at Lexington up until my junior year, and so.
So you graduated like Shaq and
Yeah, Shaq, Jalen, KJ, like all those guys. Like I played with them. So, it went to Lexington. So it was kind of like when I met him initially, it wasn't at school. It was
Okay.
it was through church. But I was like, word got around that you went to Lexington.
I didn't know
Yeah,
Yeah, we from the same neck of the woods.
that's wild.
What part of Lexington did you grow up in?
Like Oak Grove.
Okay.
So actually, technically, where my house is now is zoned for River Bluff now.
Okay.
Because of the switch. So, yeah. What part did you go on?
I was I was near the high school, like a mile away.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
Near Spence Plantation. You know where that was? Like on the lake.
Yes, I do. I know exactly.
I mean, I wasn't living in
I mean, had a lake house, bro.
Dang.
No flex.
Wearing dunks at church. Yeah.
That belt bag.
I can afford that stuff.
That's hilarious.
I know what you're talking about. That's cool. Yeah. That's really lit.
Do you make your way back to the Columbia area often? Like your family still lives there?
My family does live there.
Okay.
Like I said, it's hard with training. So
Right.
every time I get like a break,
Yeah.
I try to go down. Definitely on the holidays for sure. But
Did you start CrossFit like in high school and you went to some gyms in Columbia, or was it not
I
until
started
college?
in college to train for football. So I had to take that year off to play football.
Yeah.
And I just did it to stay in shape.
Yeah.
So
That's cool. So I did some research because I don't want to just repeat myself from all of the Savon podcasts that you do. But I saw you had an offer from App State. Was that right?
Mm-hmm. There was a few like smaller D1, AA, like Gardner Webb, App State, Coastal.
Yeah. I saw your it was a high school combine or whatever it was, and you were just trucking
saw
fools.
that?
Oh, bro. Yeah. Like just running the routes on. I was like,
That's funny.
This dude.
So after that one, that competition is when the offers started coming.
Okay.
I was like right before my senior year.
Okay. So you were getting offers junior year, and you were like, all right, I'm trying to figure out.
My first one was App State, junior year, and
Wow.
then I mean once one team like comes in,
Right.
it's kind of like that's the same teams in that division or like league will like
Right.
start offering. It's
And it's just like a bidding more from
it's
there.
like if you're an elite five-star guy,
Yeah.
and you're getting offered by Alabama. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not going to be hard for like Clemson to be like, oh yeah, we would like him too.
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah. for
So
sure.
it's like that's how so many people have so many offers at that level. It's like
Yeah.
once one comes in, it's like, oh yeah, we'll just offer him too.
That makes sense.
So
What was the choice to forego, I guess, scholarships from like an App State or Gardner Webb or wherever to like say I'm gonna walk on at Clemson, hang out with D Wrench, all my boys there. Like,
yeah.
what was that
So
choice?
I went to camp after my sophomore year, so going into my
Right.
junior year. Went to camp at Clemson and like balled out, like
Yeah.
same thing you saw in the highlight
Yeah.
film, like exact same thing. And
Just cutting fools up.
Yeah, 5 stars, like because
Crazy.
we all were there.
Yeah.
and there was like this, I mean, white guy out here just balling,
It's a young Gronk. That's what it was.
And I was there for 3 days. I was not Gronk. I was way smaller than this. Thin white boy,
Yeah.
just running routes.
Athletic.
And after 3 days, they were like, all we need to know is if you can play in pads. So we're not going to offer you a scholarship right now,
Right.
Because we need film, and I had no film because I mean I played a little
Right.
bit of sophomore year, and so they were just like prove that you can play with a helmet on, and
Right.
we'll offer you a scholarship, word for word. And Coach Sweeney was like, I mean, they had brought me all around. Like Coach Venables was my recruiter,
Right.
So he's like taking me all around, and Coach Sweeney's like saying like, hey, you remind me of myself in college, like all this stuff.
That's
And
high
like,
praise.
getting my head big, making me fall in love with
Right.
Clemson. And then I get in trouble. So I came back and I was like super selfish at that point. Like, just give me the ball. Like, I don't really care if we win. I just need film,
Right.
And I got super selfish. And then there was a moment where I was getting like yelled at during practice, and I just walked off the field.
At Clemson.
Yeah. No. I wasn't in Clemson yet.
Oh, okay.
I was in high school.
You're in high school, so okay. Yeah.
And because I came back from Clemson, and I was just like, I'm gonna go play at Clemson.
Right.
Just give me the rock. And we were heavy run team.
Oh, really?
So I was like getting super like frustrated.
Was that always Lexington's like, kind of MO? Was like a run heavy game?
Nah. We had
I don't
William Hunter and
remember.
Shaq.
Yeah.
I'm about to say.
I think it just depends on the quarterback.
Okay.
And we had a really good running back, and we had a really good offensive line, so we just shoved it down
Right.
their throat all the time. And so
Yeah.
I remember, so the one goal was, hey, like, we need to get film for me. I need to get film for me, so just give me the rock. Like, I don't even care if we lose.
Right.
If I have 100 yards.
Right.
I mean, we're good. So this was like the mindset. And
100-yard game, but lose.
yeah, I mean, I'm good with it.
Right.
That was the mindset, as selfish as it was. And then people, like, you knew, if we would have won by 50 points, but I'm pissed because I had one catch.
Oh, wow.
I wore that emotion on my shoulder. If we lose, but I had 100 yards, then you saw me wear that
Right.
emotion on my shoulder because I was
Right.
happy.
Right.
So it was like the opposite. It was like weird. So you could easily tell how selfish I was, even in the first couple. This all happened in the first couple of weeks
Of senior
my
year?
my junior year.
Oh, okay.
And then so the next like 1 week later, we were practicing.
Yeah.
And I was getting yelled at, dude, like in front of the whole team about how selfish I was and how I only cared about myself and Clemson and all this stuff.
Yeah.
It was all true. And so I
yeah.
walked off the field and I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
And then I got suspended. All the Clemson coaches found out, and they stopped recruiting me. So then that's when I kind of like, I got my like stuff together. I
Right.
became like a lot more team player. I got a lot of stuff figured out with my own heart and with the Lord, and I mean,
Yeah.
got healed from a lot of things, and even at a young age. And kind of for the next year, I just kind of put my head down and said like, whatever happens, happens.
Right.
Like if I don't, at that time, over time, going into my like even deep into my junior year, like going into the off season of my senior year, like I still wanted to play at Clemson. And I was like, I'll do it no matter, like I'll go no matter what at that point. Cause I was just like, I fell in love with that visit that first time. Like, if Coach Sweeney's like, do you remind me of myself? Like, and showing you the whole freaking world, it's like, dude, you fall in love. And it's like, you don't want anything less than that. You
Right.
know? And plus, he like, no matter what happened, like at high school, like he showed me and like told me that I could be great, you know. And so I wanted to continue to follow him. And so that whole year they didn't talk to me, stopped recruiting me, and then at that point, so when I went there, they told me I was gonna. This was the first time they told me they were gonna take 2 wide receivers on scholarship. They were offered 2, and so basically I was gonna be one of the 2.
Yeah.
Hopefully, if I produced. After they stopped recruiting me, it was like probably 7 months. I didn't hear about him again. I went to my senior year. I went to a camp again my senior year and balled out again. Like, I mean, I'm a year better.
Yeah.
This is my senior year. This is my time to like shine.
Put some weight on now. Maybe,
weight on.
Maybe 200 now.
Everything, something like that. Well, maybe 195.
Maybe, on the stat sheet, it's 6'2", 200.
Right.
And at this point, I'm like, I just want to prove myself.
Right.
Like, okay, you don't talk to me for a year. Like, I probably, went down on the recruiting charts or whatever, and I just want to prove myself.
Yeah.
And not only like physically on the football field, but like emotionally, I'm way more mature.
Yeah.
And so I balled out, and they were like, I shot back up on their radar, but then they all had offered 2 guys already. And so they were only taking, they ended up changing it to 3 guys, and I was the 4th guy. So they offered Cornell Powell, TJ Green, or TJ Chase, and DeAndre Overton. Okay. All 3 of those guys were in my class, and I was the 4th.
Stat class.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're 4 against those guys.
So I was the 4th guy, and I had a preferred walk-on.
Right.
And so at that point in the process, like I made my decision to go to Clemson as a junior. Like,
is that weird growing in Columbia and like
so
South Carolina's right there?
I grew up a Gamecock fan.
Right.
That's so wild.
What was?
Yeah.
It was the opposite for me. I grew up like when I literally was into football and college and all that stuff. It was Clemson, and I went to Carolina.
Right.
Yeah.
It was a switch. So.
Yeah, so I grew up going Carolina fan or games. I went to every single one.
Right.
First game was when I was 5 years old. I went to away games, home games. Like,
Oh,
dude, I
geez.
was like,
You're in it,
dude. Like, I want to be a Gamecock. Well, I, progress, get better, go into high school. I'm like, I just want to play at Carolina.
Yeah.
And
At this point, Carolina's not good anymore.
No. They are good.
Our freshman year was the last year. I guess it was 2016. So yeah, it probably was.
So when I'm going into high school, I mean, this is when Stephen Garcia is
right.
This is when they're going like I think they're on the back end of their run.
Yeah.
I think in middle school, this is when they were like 2 losses in the year.
Oh,
At this
wow.
point, they were like probably 3 or 4 losses.
Okay.
And they were just like this is on the tail end of Steve Berger's.
Search Burgers, yeah.
That fear of the thumb.
Yep.
Yeah, fear the thumb.
Didn't make it.
That hurts a little bit to bring back up.
But as I was getting recruited and like stepping into like the recruiting process, they weren't like recruiting. Plus, if you looked at like their guys, I mean, you never saw like wide receiver on the football field. But Clemson always had one.
Yeah.
Adam Humphries was the first one.
Right.
Who was the next one? Tyler Grisham was first, and then Adam Humphries came.
Oh, really?
And then Hunter Renfrow.
Oh,
and then I was like,
I'm next in line, bro. I'm next in line.
Let me pull up. That's funny.
and so yeah, there was like a line there, and they all wore 13. So it was kind of like I'm destined to wear. I thought I was destined to wear 13.
Yeah.
And so all that happens. Like I said, I made my decision. Like I already fell in love with Clemson. Clemson's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
I grew up in Columbia, and if you grew up somewhere, like you have that distaste of like I don't want to be here for the rest of my life.
Yes.
Like every time I go to Columbia, I'm like, God,
I'm glad I'm out. Yeah.
I'm glad I'm coming.
Let's go back. Let's go back up to upstate.
Like I would never live here again in my life.
Yep. I feel that.
And so like I felt that, in high school, like I can't wait to get out of here.
Yeah.
And so they just had my heart from the get go when it came to recruiting, and
Right.
I feel like if you go look at all the people getting recruited for Clemson, they say one thing that's like across the board. I feel like family here.
Interesting.
Like they always say that. And I think that's what I felt as well. Like, okay, these people actually care about me as a person.
And Dabo's investing.
Yeah, Coach Sweeney is like actually invested in me as a person, as a man.
Wow.
And all these things. And so, I mean, I thought it was just awesome. And so, yeah, when I lost the opportunity to get like on scholarship, I had a bunch of other scholarships, like lower D2 teams, like App State. It would have been amazing to play App State.
Sure.
But I think I don't know, I'm a big dreamer, and what I do, I like the things I want to experience in life. I want to experience like the tip of the tip thing, like
right?
The best of the best.
Yeah.
And so Clemson they were winning national championships at the time.
Absolutely.
And so I wanted to be a part of that, and I wanted to be like, just a part of that.
Yeah.
So
That's cool.
Yeah.
So in this kind of journey from high school and going into college, like where does the faith kind of play in? I know you were talking about like the selfishness, then you had like a huge heart change with the Lord. Mm-hmm. Did you grow up in the church, or was this like, I'm 16, I'm realizing I'm a kind of a jerk around people, and like some people reach out to me, and like Scotty Gavlin, whoever it was, like come to New Spring, whatever it is, like whoever. What was that?
So I wouldn't say I grew up in church. I went to church every now and then with my mom.
Right.
But I went like consistent every single Sunday. And so I didn't really know. I think I knew the lingo of church because, I mean, a lot of people do.
Yep. You grew up in the
Even
South.
if you don't go to church, you know the lingo. And so like when I didn't really go to church. I went to Fuse at first.
Okay.
Gang.
And
FSKO.
Fuse was the place we hung out.
Oh yeah.
Like it was a place where we hung out to go like chase girls. Like we just went to go. We didn't really care about the Lord. We just wanted to go hang out. It was like this. It was like what was going to be cookout after.
Yeah. Oh,
yep.
It was like Fuse was cookout. It was like let's go to Fuse on Wednesday.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so we would go to Fuse, and I just kept going, and it was. It sounds so embarrassing to say.
We're on the other side of it now, man. It's like you're married now. It's all good.
Bro, is it okay? Let me ask you this real quick. You remember fifth quarter when we were in high school?
Yeah.
So fifth quarter was like at that church, but it's like nobody went for the actual church thing. It was just like, oh yeah, we're going to turn up and like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it was as aggressive as I think the people at fifth quarter knew we were there to turn up.
Oh yeah. That's fair. They just hosted it up.
Yeah, they just kind of hosted
like,
it. Yeah. I think they were trying to keep us away from like other
like the other parties.
Yeah. So they were like, okay, if we provide like a lesser threat,
right, with some food, some music. Still people making it out in the parking lot though.
Yeah.
It's like, anyways, not at Fuse.
Not at Fuse. I mean, there were people making.
I was like,
so I go to
I left
Fuse,
you at P, bro. I know.
Fuse, and it was like a thing to like get saved.
Yeah.
Like get saved, post it on Instagram type thing. And I would go there, and like people would get celebrated for like getting saved. And I was like, I don't even know what that means. Like, I'm just going to Fuse. I'm just going there to have a good time.
Right.
Like I said, I know like Jesus is King and Lord and God, but I don't even know what salvation.
Right.
I couldn't define what that means. And so I go there for like a long time. People are getting saved, celebrated. Yeah. We're going down to Chick-fil-A after, like celebrating like salvation. And I'm like, bro, I want to get saved. I mean, if you're gonna celebrate me,
give me the rock. Just like,
I go a few times with a buddy who's like in the same boat as I am. Like, we're just going to hang out. We don't even know it. And then he gets saved. He gets saved, and we're on the way to church. This is like a couple weeks later. And I'm like, this is like my fourth time going at this point. And I said, hey, he had been going a longer time than me.
Sure.
And I remember being in his car, pulling in the parking lot and saying, hey, I'm going to get saved tonight. Before I said, I'm going to get saved tonight. And he looked at me and said, bro, you just started coming. You got to wait a few weeks. And so I said, all right, I'll wait a few weeks. And so I waited, And then like a few weeks later, man, I was like, all right, time to get saved.
It's like a membership.
I gotta get my card.
Yeah, it's like I went through the courses, so like I'm ready to like graduate into
And
salvation.
I remember like it was yesterday. I get saved, raise my hand. People were like taking pictures with me after, and we go to McDonald's after, and we go with a buddy of mine who's a year, James Ricker.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
And I'm ordering, and I'm just like, I order what I want, and I look at him and it says, "It's on you. I just got saved tonight."
Jesus paid away for you. And
You gonna pay the way for me?
I just gotta say, bro, you gotta buy my meal.
Come on.
Big night for me, bro. I just leveled up.
You got saved. You posted about it. Everybody celebrated, and you got a free meal.
This is what, I mean, when I saw people get celebrated, I was like, I want that. Like, I don't even care about what this means.
Wow. Yeah.
And so I get saved, and like nothing happens. Like I don't start reading my Bible or anything. Still go to Fuse. I'm just like, nah, I got saved. I'm celebrating other people at this point. Like, hey, bro, you go get your meal paid for it.
Get your meal paid for it.
So I like go this like long time, like just going through the motions, keep doing what I'm doing, still going there to hang out.
Right.
Like I'm not following the Lord, not like growing anything. I didn't get saved, but I like thought I got saved.
Right.
You said the prayer.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
I don't think I said the prayer.
I got prayed over
My hand, bro.
Yeah.
And
Facts.
after a short time, like I got in trouble that summer. I went to the beach with a buddy, and we got drunk. My parents found out, and at that point, I lost out on like the whole Clemson thing.
Right.
Just got caught drinking, and my now wife was my girlfriend, and she like broke up with me because of both of those things. Because she was like actually like a follower of the Lord.
Wow.
And she was very displeased when she heard about me walking off the field. So she was like, "I don't want anything to do with you because you're selfish and it's gonna be an embarrassment." And we weren't really like a thing. It was like
High school dating.
Yeah, high school dating. Like he got in trouble overdone.
Can't be seen.
And then too, I remember alongside with like wanting to get saved, she broke up with me after Clemson, and so a part of me was like, if I get saved, I might get her back. And so I remember that being part of it too. And then I remember texting her and being like, "Hey, I just got saved." And she said, "No, you didn't."
Dude, she keeping it real.
Word for word, bro.
Shout out.
Word for word. Word for word.
Wow. Okay.
And so all this happens. And those two things were the biggest things I ever wanted in life. I wanted to play football at Clemson. I wanted to marry Grace Ann. And those two were like kind of stripped away from me. And in a real sense, I just got in trouble drinking going into my senior year.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, all right, I need to figure like this out, you know?
For sure.
So I started asking some questions to like some, older guys in my life, like Joseph Montz, guys like that. Yeah.
Good people.
Started going to church on Sundays.
Oh.
And that's when it
leveled up.
that's when it actually it started hitting home.
Oh, because from this point you were just going to Fuse.
Yeah, just going to Fuse, like I don't even know what I was doing. And then when I started going to Sundays, I was tuned in. I was like listening. Like none of my boys are here. Like I'm not gonna get in trouble.
Right.
Wow.
Like if I start talking to people on Sunday, they're gonna tell me to shut up.
Yeah.
So I started listening, and then I was like, okay, whatever he's talking about, I don't have. Like actually talking about salvation. So I was like, but I'm saved. I ain't gonna raise my hand again, you know?
Right. Because that's embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's like, did you just get saved? You trying to get another free meal?
Yeah, another free meal. And so over time, I can't pinpoint a date that I was like actually got saved.
Sure.
But I knew like during that process was when I actually like, it was a gradual. It wasn't like overnight. Like I was still a jock. I still chase girls. I was still like super selfish and all those things. But boy, was I hungry as a freaking 16-year-old kid, you know? Because like I had the personality that whatever I'm going to do, I'm going to go after it 100%.
For sure.
So it's like, if I'm going to play football, then I'm going to be the best football player that ever lived.
Right.
You know, and I'm going to work like that. And if I'm going to like give my life to Christ, then I'm going to be all in that as well.
Yeah.
And so when I like give my life to something, then I'm going to like actually do it. And so even at 16 years old, like I gave my life to Christ. And so I like trying to read my Bible, come to church all the time. And so from there, kind of like all this is going on while the Clemson stuff was going on.
Yeah.
And
It's a
at that
trying
point,
season.
yeah, I was just like growing in my faith and at that point, trusting the Lord and just kind of like walking through it. And it was like, there were some ups and downs. It wasn't all like perfect. But man, he was faithful during that time. And
Right.
yeah, it was all good.
That's awesome, man.
What was that like? So this is before you went to Clemson.
Yeah.
Right. So you were going to Fuse and you were going to New Spring in Columbia. Obviously, there's a Fuse and well, I guess once you get in college, you're not in Fuse, but they have New Spring up in Clemson. Did that transition going from Columbia Church and the group of friends and stuff like that, your community, to Clemson? How was that for you, like in the aspect of like helping you continue to grow your faith?
Yeah. So I think after a year in high school, I had developed a lot of like deep roots for the Lord. I was called into the ministry when I went to Gauntlet.
Okay. What Gauntlet did you go to?
Gauntlet. This was Gauntlet. I went to 2 Gauntlet. My first one was Gauntlet X.
That's the first one I went to.
Yeah.
I was a leader at that
Okay.
one, for sure. Yeah.
And then the second one was when I was going into my junior year. Going into my senior year, I was called into ministry.
Okay.
I think I don't know if that was the same.
Gauntlet X.
I think I don't know if this happened all at the same Gauntlet or only the 2.
Oh, okay.
Was there one after Gauntlet X?
There was Gauntlet. There was actually, I want to
like
say 2 or 3.
Oh, really?
Gauntlet
Okay.
X, and then I guess.
I think, yeah, I did go my senior year. So I got called to ministry, and then me and a buddy started leading a church FCA type thing at our school.
Right.
And so like I led that, and I spoke a lot. And so like I had to have some roots to be able to do that. I'm not talking about like deep.
Right.
I'm just
For
like,
sure.
yeah.
17, 16.
Yeah, 16 years, whatever. And so that kind of carried over. Going into college, I was like, I'm going to play football, and then I'm going to be a preacher. And so, like, this is what I'm going to give my time to. Like, I'm going to go to the NFL, and then that time is going to come up at some point, and I'm going to be a preacher.
Yeah.
And so when I going into college, it kind of like just I flowed right in. Honestly, the Lord, had a huge shield over my life when it came to like college life. So it wasn't as bad as
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Do you still feel like that calling, maybe not to be a preacher or pastor per se, but like still in the ministry of discipleship and like
absolutely.
with kids and
once you like taste, like the goodness of the Lord, like
Right.
you just want to like actually taste it, and not just say you think you have or something. I think you just want to continue to like share that.
yeah.
And I've been, gracious enough for the Lord to be faithful to me and like allow me to experience a lot of things. And I just want to continue to live my life and continue to share those things, whatever avenue that may be. It might not ever be I might think I was wanted to be a preacher.
Right.
That may never have been the Lord's plan.
Yeah.
But ministry is definitely something I want to like integrate into any single opportunity I get. For the
That's
rest of my
awesome.
life. So.
Yeah.
And you see that like, again, I did research because I didn't want to be like repetitive, but you saw like in the CrossFit space, people like Rich and Ben Smith and people in that area that were like, faith is a big part of my life. I'm not ashamed of it. Like, did you see CrossFit as a platform to where you were able to kind of be a light in the competitions, be light in that like training room? I know you work out with JR and all of them. Like, they're great people and love the Lord too.
Yeah.
Like, do you see CrossFit as that avenue of ministry now?
Yeah, I think it's hard, and a lot of those guys I don't see a lot. I only see them like certain times of the year during competitions. When those competitions come around, it's super hard to be like, okay, ministry first.
Right.
You know, like
Yeah.
$300,000 in the line,
Yeah.
ministry first.
Yeah.
You know, so it is challenging.
Sure.
I think it all has to come down to like how I want to like
For sure.
integrate that into my career.
Yeah.
For me, it's like, I don't think, especially in America where everybody knows about Jesus, it's not a thing to go up to somebody and be like, are you saved? Let me tell you how to get saved.
Right.
I don't think that's the method that I think is best. I think after a long time of like living a life like worthy of the gospel, bringing people into your life and like showing, hey, like you're messed up, but hey, this is why I do what I do. After maybe years of friendship, you know?
Right.
And at that point, I'm able to, they trust me, I trust them. We have a bond.
Yeah.
I'm able to integrate that message into our friendship at that point. But it might take years. It might take a day. It might take however long that trust is built.
For sure.
But I feel like when it comes to like the gospel now, it's all about relationship. But it's also more about, like, I do want the message. It's deeper than, hey, just love people. Like, I do want to share the gospel, and I do want to tell people like hey, we need a savior, you know? And I just don't want, I feel like a lot of times you have the left side who is like, oh, I just love, you know? But then you got this other side who's like, Jesus, 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 who are standing on the street corner,
right.
you know? It's like, well, that ain't it.
Right.
Where's
But
the balance?
Yeah, I was like, but there's got to be, you know, there's got to be meat on those other bones.
Right.
You know, you just can't love because, I mean, everybody's loving, you know?
Sure.
And so I think for me, Grace Ann and I, as a married couple, we just want to bring people into our lives.
Yeah.
Like, we don't want to like say this is what we believe. We want to bring people into like our home.
Yeah.
And like have dinner with them and like share our lives.
That's
And
the gospel.
yeah, just share our lives and have conversation about everything. And
That's cool.
at some point in that friendship, the Lord will bring himself up.
Yeah.
Dude, that's huge.
And that's when I would take my,
Whip out the Bible now.
yeah. So,
That's cool.
cause like, I wasn't always like that, you know, like
Right.
being someone who wanted to be a preacher, and I'm a big reader in like church history. And you always read like guys who would just like go up to some random street corner and start preaching, and thousands of people get saved. And I'm like, well, I'm gonna do that. Yeah. You know, and it just doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
You know, like people respond differently now. And I don't know what it would be like. I just want to live a life that is like contagious to the gospel. Like, you see me handle my money. Like, why do you handle your money like this? Well, let me tell you why.
Right.
You know, like, why would you tithe? Well, let me tell you why. You know, like, why do you read your Bible every morning? Like, those things are only seen, like the things that are secret in my life are only seen when you come into my life. And I'm not going around telling you all these. I'm not posting on my social. I'm not posting that stuff on my social.
This
media,
morning,
like,
John,
Yeah,
7,
yeah,
8.
yeah,
like-
yeah.
It's like the coffee's like perfectly steamy, like highlighted, like
Cozied
set
up by the
exactly.
It's like you took more time to set that picture
Yeah.
up than you did to read the verse.
Yeah, so I think it's just the most effective way.
Yeah.
And Paul talks about this in like Thessalonians. He talks about how he came into that place and shared my very own life with
Right.
him.
I think it's the greatest testimony is the life that you live.
Yeah.
And I mean, when we look like Jesus, that's what's going to attract people. It's not the crowds of people were following Jesus for the works that he did, not because he said he was the Son of God. Like, it was the going around living his life, and like acting out true gospel. So it's huge, man. I mean, I think it's the best way to share the gospel and to share the word of the Lord is living a life that is like surrendered to him. And it sounds like, I mean, from what I've seen as well, I don't know you personally, but it sounds like it seems like that's a passion that you have. It's very evident. So
I appreciate it.
yeah, absolutely.
It's cool to. I always say this, like it's cool to see the transformation in the way that you live your life as a believer, and from what you were just telling us earlier about how like you were playing football and everything's about me. I got like bumped my team. I don't care if we lose. Like I got my film. I got my life. You know what I'm saying? Like to see that switch is I feel like very not even I feel just knowing that like it's very evident that God's done a huge work in your life. like I didn't see that stage in your life,
Right.
but to hear you talk about it from just the beginning of this to now, it's very evident. It's like, I'm living my life now so I can give, rather than I'm living my life so I can receive,
Right.
kind of thing. And out of what you have been given, you're able to pour into other people, and that's just one of the things too. It's like my heart, I know Thomas, like even just talking with you, it seems like the thing is you're giving out of what has been given to you, and not just holding it for yourself. And, and you have a platform that it could easily not be that way.
Right.
I'm saying, like, with your sponsorships and different things like that, like it can be easy to get to that place. But, just hearing what you're saying, I just like, I respect that,
Right. For sure.
that actually kind of brings me to my question. We were talking about this earlier, but how have you noticed, like, your life to be different in the sense of, like, with the platform that you have now, do you feel like people praise you and look at you different and all these different things, like, what I'm saying, being noticed, like,
Right.
seventh fittest man, in the world right now under, CrossFit and all these different things, like, you have these accolades, you have this, I guess, I don't know, list of things that you've done and been very successful in and continue to grow. So what has that transition been like from, like, okay, I played football in high school to now I'm like on TV
Worldwide
all the
now.
time, and
Yeah.
like you got people in Greenville sitting there watching you. Like we had an event, we were watching the competition.
Oh, yeah.
Lifting the back. I'm like,
we were legit. We were at Hoppin, listening to music and having drinks, and I was just like, I got this sandbag event's 3 hours long. I'm not missing it, bro. Like,
I don't think from the outside, from my circle of friends, don't treat me any different.
that's good.
And I think that's like the most important part. Like whether I come in last or never do
Right.
CrossFit ever, or if I win, like my closest friends aren't treating me any different.
yeah,
Like JR is not treating me any different.
Right.
Like the people who come over to my house are not treating me any different. I think that's like been something that's always been, important for me, and helped me stay grounded.
Yeah.
That they're not praising me. So like I have no reason to be like, oh, like I should be praised,
friends,
That's
keep
why-
your humble. Yeah,
Right, like the salvation thing.
Yeah.
People are so
Oh, y'all don't think this is cool? Okay, I guess I won't either. Like I got home from Cancun and no one even mentioned the games.
that's great. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah,
Like,
they're like, so what you thought? Like, waiting for.
No, they
That's cool though.
yeah. I think it's just from the outside, like people who I'm not really close with. I mean, what they think about me, good or bad. I mean, that doesn't really affect me personally.
Sure.
I can say that with honesty. Like if there's some stranger that like thinks I'm like this because I'm the seventh fittest man in the world, like that doesn't necessarily affect my ego. I think if
That's awesome.
the people in my circle were affecting my ego, then that would hurt.
Yeah.
Like if my best friends were like holding me like on a high up, which
Yeah.
they don't, I feel like that I would also
Yeah.
like rise. My ego would also rise to that level. I'm not saying I'm like the most humble guy in the world. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying like the transition from Clemson to like where I am now, my close friends have always treated me the same way.
Right.
And I always think that has kept me grounded in a big way.
Yeah. No, that's a huge blessing to have people in your life that's like,
Yeah.
dude, this the same Jayson. I know this is really
Yeah.
like, you know
Right.
what I'm saying? Or
Right.
whatever. however
And
you
I always
know,
want
so-
like that to be the thing. Like I don't want to, if I ever win the CrossFit Games, I want my closest friends to be like, oh, he's just as personal, he's just
Yeah.
as vulnerable, he's just as honest, he's just as fun to be around.
yeah,
All those things. Like he loves the Lord just as much.
sure.
All those things that were, you knew when no one knew me to now when
people know you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, it sounds like you have like the mindset portion of the fitness world and even just in life in general is like a huge factor. And I think that you kind of encapsulate, but that's what kind of drew you to Matt, right? Is the mindset aspect of training or I guess
Yeah.
vice versa too. How is that playing a factor into being on one of the greatest college football teams outside of Alabama, to now, I know, but yeah, to say what it is. So now working with one of probably the best camps, like in there, like how important is the mindset? Like you can outwork everybody, but and I think you said this too with football, like everybody's in the gym now, from sun up to sundown. Like we're all working out the same exact way.
Right.
So how much does like that mindset play a factor?
I think it's the biggest thing, honestly. I think this was just like life in general.
Right.
So working with Coach Sweeney, one of the best in the game, and then now being able to work with Matt, the best in the game.
Best in the game, yeah.
And both of them have like big similarities.
Really?
Yeah, like when it came to like, working hard and all those like the mental aspect of the game.
Right.
At the end of the day, everybody is working hard. Like everybody is waking up and going to their 9 to 5, like or they will get fired.
Right.
Like
Facts.
every athlete is either like they are doing their job, whether they're going through the motions or not. That's on them.
Sure.
So for me, it's how can I leverage the 1% in training or outside of training. So I like to look at the places in my life that are hard and that no one else is willing to do. So everybody's willing to go to the gym,
Right.
because that's the thing we do. Like everybody's willing to die and do burpees and do all the lift weights and do all the fun things in the gym that's going to help them. But no one's willing to sit on a foam roller for an hour.
You're stretching.
Ice baths.
Nobody wants to invest $1,000 of their own money into going to get chiropractor work.
Right.
No one wants to go get massages every 2 weeks or every week. No one wants to go to bed at 9 or 10 o'clock and get 10 hours of sleep. No one wants to eat this much food. No one wants to. I mean, all these things that when you look on paper, it's like, oh, these are hard to do. Nobody wants to like sacrifice time with the boys. Like it's college football. Like I'm gonna have to say no to that. Hanging out with you because I have to go train on Saturdays. So it's like all these things that are like 1% minor things. Like maybe going to bed at 11 o'clock one night won't really add up. But what if it does?
Right.
What if I can skip like rolling out my muscles one day or 2 times a week. Like what if I just do 30 minutes tonight? But what that does is at the end of your season, you come in second, and now you have that what if. What if those 30 minutes compounded? Like what if that would have changed? What if I would have ate this instead of that? What if I didn't binge those cookies? Like all these things, and then you have like a pile of like what ifs at the end of your season. I came in 7th in the world, and I had a lot of what ifs.
Really?
Yeah. Like
even with the goal of top 10, and you're like exceeded that.
I think you always have what ifs. I think you never have a perfect season. So there are. I mean, I did eat a bunch of cookies, and I didn't roll out an hour a day every day. Last season, I didn't. I wasn't as disciplined as I want. So 7th was probably what I earned. But you can't help but come back and be like, well, what if like I would have did all those things the right way? What if I was perfect? What if I did roll out every single day? What if I invested more money into recovery stuff and like getting body work done and like, because that stuff hurts. It's like, no, I don't want to give 1,000. Like I go to a chiropractor twice a week. I get massages, and I do. I go to this one guy for active tissue release. So like he's digging in my skin. All 3 of those things. Those are not cheap.
No. And not.
And I'm on a foam roller an hour a day. So like all these things, it's like an hour a day. And so all this time is like accumulating. But it compounds. It's like I'm gonna get 1% better today than the person who doesn't do all those things. And the next day I'm gonna get 1% more better. And after 365 days, I mean, like 365%.
Wow.
And it compounds, and over years and years and years, it just so happens that we did the same amount of training. We put the same amount of effort in as well in the training, but I'm night and day better than you simply because I paid attention to the details off the floor. I'm not saying I'm perfect with that kind of stuff. I'm saying this is like the standard. This is what we all strive to do. And so when it comes to like the mental aspect of like, for me, it's training. All those things are the 1%. It looks different for everybody, but there is those 1% details that nobody wants to do that, if you did do, you level up.
Yeah.
So
who in your circle is keeping you accountable to that? Or is it a personal thing? Like, I have to mentally be strong enough to do this myself, because I know Grace Ann's not going to tell me, like, because she wants time with you.
Yeah.
Like, Matt's not here, so Matt's not going to tell you on a Thursday afternoon, hey man, like, we need to be eating 3,000 calories today, or whatever it is. Like, do you have people in your corner to keep you accountable, or is it mainly on you feel?
No, I have people, but at the end of the day, it's you got to make that decision.
Right.
And so like, they're not going to make me spend that much time recovering. Like, they're not, but they will ask you, did you do that?
Oh, wow.
And like, saying out loud, no, I didn't.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, I'm going back, They do like, and also like, everybody in my life is for me.
Right.
Like, they all want to see me achieve my goals, and they all are like, at this point in my life, I just got done with year 2. They know the sacrifices I have to make to be great. They're all embedded into the sport themselves. Like, they all go to the CrossFit games. They know all the names. They know like what it takes to get there. And so at this point, they're not like holding me accountable, but they are like, are you still doing that? Like,
like checking.
yeah, they're like checking in on me. But I have to be the one that actually holds myself accountable.
Right.
At the end of the day, it's my own desire that's gonna make me make those sacrifices.
Sure.
So
I guess I know you guys probably got to head out here pretty soon. But what is that end goal? What is that thing you're holding yourself accountable to? Like, is there an arrival point you feel like?
I think there is, and it doesn't have to do with like tangible results. I think it has to do with like what I think is my arrival. For me, my arrival is my full potential, and that might be 7th at the games.
Sure.
That might be 10th at the games. That might be 1st. That might be never go again. You know, because what I do is I put my arrival, my goals into somebody else's hand when those are results based. Like, if I'm working my tail off, if I pay attention, if I do have a perfect season, but everybody else has a perfect season as well,
Right.
and I don't even make the games, like, should I be mad? No, I just had a perfect season,
Right.
you know? And so there has to be like a level of like, hey, I want, at the end of my career, wherever it takes me, I want to be proud, like, of what I accomplished and what I did as an athlete. I want to be proud of myself.
Right.
And that only comes with effort. Like, the results will come and go. Like, every year, I'm going to have a different results, but that doesn't define me. Like, 7th fittest man in the world, like, that's cool to say, but like, that's not who I am. Who I am is I'm a man of God who gives maximal effort in what he does.
Wow.
And so at the end of my career, I'm going to be able to say that, whether I don't ever make the games again or I win, you know? And so for me, I do all these things to, one, make myself proud, but two, because I love the sport in general. Like, I want to win the games. Like, that is a goal of mine.
Right.
But it's not the goal.
Sure.
Because if I never do it, then am I supposed to feel like crap for the rest of my life
Right.
because I never did it? And hold my head down because I didn't accomplish that goal? Like, no. Like, my goal is in reach, but it has to do with me taking care of like what I'm in control of.
Wow.
Like, I can actually reach my full potential. Like, that is a thing I can do and I will do, but it has nothing to do with anybody else but me.
Right.
Yeah.
And that is the best. That is the best goal, knowing that, no, like, it's in my destiny. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know when, I don't know what it looks like, I don't know how it's gonna happen. But like, if I continue to do what I'm doing and continue to get better at what I'm doing, then yeah, I'll reach it.
That's awesome.
Cool.
And I'll be able to live with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's
so,
awesome.
Yeah, it's I mean, literally back to the whole thing. Obviously, this podcast, Life as Believers, but throughout everything that you've been saying, it's just showing it's like your identity is not in what you do. You know, and I think that can be one of the things where, you know, with your brothers and sisters in Christ, your friends, your family, all this stuff, it's like having people that, in a sense, hold you accountable to that.
Yeah.
You know, with us, we started our own business, like, you know, me working with like music and musicians and different things like that. There's so many times where it's easy to be so focused on my success based off of what I produce, as opposed to like I need to understand that I'm good regardless,
Right.
but I'm still gonna give my all.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not like I'm good regardless and I'm gonna slack off, but it's understanding that my identity is not in what I do and what I produce.
Yep.
And so
huge.
it's really cool to hear that coming from you, and you know, seeing, like I said before, seeing that transition from, because I would attest that you probably didn't see it that way when you were playing football, and all those things, but like seeing that transition is super encouraging, and like that to me that's ministry.
Wow.
I mean, you're talking about like, oh, you want to be a pastor at some point and all these different things, and that may come as well. But one of the things that we've talked about, and I've had conversations with other guys before about, is that like ministry doesn't mean you have to stand on a pulpit. So like your ministry is your life lived. Right. So through CrossFit, through if you want to start your own clothing brand, whatever, like all these different things, through your marriage, that's your ministry.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's so cool to just see where you're going, bro. Like,
appreciate that.
we here
That's
for
awesome.
you.
Yeah,
Like,
dude.
support that.
Yeah. Well, we close out every episode with recommendations. I know you've been reading a whole lot, some non or some fiction books, some suspense stuff.
Harry Potter, bro. You want me to give a book recommendation?
Or any kind of
It could be
recommendation.
food. It could
Yeah.
be
Food?
It could be a food
Yeah.
recommendation. It's like a new place you tried or something.
I don't try. GB&D all the time.
Oh, it's so good, dude.
GB&D.
The Golden Brown Delicious over there at the
bro.
Commons. That chicken sandwich.
Okay, yeah, I went there one time.
Do you do the hot chicken sandwich or the
No, I get a cheeseburger.
cheeseburger?
Cheeseburger.
I'm a very like stick to the plan kind of guy.
Yeah,
Okay.
I feel you.
So it's like if I try something good, like I don't want anything else.
Yeah.
Right.
If I have a good restaurant, it's like, all right, I'm going here.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's like it's so bad. I think I was thinking about this the other day. Like I listened to like 3 songs
Oh,
on repeat.
bro, I feel you.
because love
I feel you. I feel you. And it's like three in each genre. Like if
I'll
yeah.
find like one artist. Like I'm big on Hardy right now.
Okay.
Okay. He's that country singer, right?
Yeah, country singer. And I'll just like binge Hardy.
Yeah.
And then like somebody will be like, "Who's your favorite music artist?" And I'm like, "Hardy, bro."
Right now, bro.
Go. And then like, I don't know, a year later they'll ask me again. I'm like, "Who's your favorite?" I'm like, "Morgan Wallen." It all happens to be. It's all who has the latest album.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. For sure.
So if he just drops one, I'm just like,
put it on
all right,
rotation.
Like,
Yeah.
like Morgan
feel
Wallen.
you.
my
That
favorite.
makes sense.
But I don't know, book recommendation. Harry Potter.
Your party's solid.
I mean, if you want to get really into it, How Champions Think. I'm reading that now.
Okay.
I'm reading how like, dude, Tiger Woods would have like this like, I don't know. He would listen to like this video of people like trash talking him of like how he's saying,
Oh,
like,
wow.
saying he's like not what everybody thinks he is. He's like gonna choke. He's not as good as you know who like.
Yeah.
He's not the best. He would like listen to it on the TV, and he would putt right in front of it, like in his living room. He would just spend like hours just like
That's an
listen,
insane person.
that's wild.
listening while putting, and so I just thought it was cool. But How Champions Think, how bad do you want it?
Okay.
Those 2 things, and then obviously Harry Potter.
Yeah. What about you? What's your recommendations this week?
My recommendation is, I'm recommending this because this is something I've been terrible about recently, but like he brought this up. Get more sleep. Like, like get enough sleep. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's been a struggle bus, but it's been, I mean, it's been good. It's been a grind, you know,
Yeah.
staying up late, working on my craft, but it's like, okay, there has to be balance. Like I need to rest.
Right.
You know, so. Yeah.
That's good.
Bro, it's America, bro. You're not supposed to be sleeping.
Well, I haven't been. So
Yeah.
I guess,
That's huge.
3 hours is enough.
I want day after day.
Can't do it. Can't do it. Yeah.
Funny.
I would say I just got my blood work done just to kind of get like a baseline test of like where I'm at health wise. So I recommend that. But also I think finding time to throughout the day to find some kind of restful moments in the day. You can call it a Sabbath rest. You can call it like a recentering meditation, whatever it is. But getting 5 to 10 minutes a day to kind of like recenter yourself and step back of like, all right, do I need to send this email now? No, I can take a break and go for a walk or pray or listen to 3 songs from Hardy and like shut your brain off for a little bit of the day. And I think it's been a huge thing that I'm learning to practice, but try it out.
Yeah.
But dude,
also, I recommend everybody get a fanny pack from StockX, so I feel less guilty.
gang, gang. This price is gonna go up now. All the demand's up.
They're gonna go up.
That's
And
hilarious.
I can't promise you they'll get new ones in. So,
Get them while they're hot.
Get them. Well, they are hot
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, Jayson, I appreciate you coming in and hanging out with
appreciate
us.
having me.
Yeah, of course.
Awesome.
Cool.
This is good stuff.
See y'all.
Peace.
Oh, dude.
It's fun.